This is the last time I'm going to try to make this video today. I actually uploaded it once, but then I re-listened to it and I realized how many mistakes I made and I didn't keep things in order. I am so tired. I'm not going to try to keep things in order this time. I'm just going to try not to make any mistakes. Okay. So I went to vote today and I was afraid they would have people follow me into the polling place because like they have people move into the areas where the targets are, right? That's what they do. And so I figured, well, they could follow me in if they're allowed to vote there. And because security is tight now, right? So if on election day, you can only stay. You can't just hang out in a building where voting is taking place, right? You can stay there if you're voting and if you work there, right? If you're working the polls, but otherwise you can't just hang out there. So I figured they would probably have someone who they moved into this area just follow me in and on the grounds that they're going to be voting there. Whether they did or didn't, I don't know, but nothing happened. So I'm going to assume they didn't. I mean, there could have been someone there, but nothing happened. It went okay. Until I left. When I left, I walked out and I went a little down the block and turned the corner. I heard someone. Sorry, and I'm having trouble breathing. Like I've had trouble breathing for years, but it's almost like oxygen hunger. So if it sounds like I'm taking deep breaths, I'm not bored. I'm trying to get oxygen. All right. So what happened? I'm walking around. Right. I'm leaving the polls. I voted. I left. I walked around the corner. Down the block, around the corner. I hear someone following behind me, like running up behind me. I don't look back. But then the person in front of me stops short. So I also have to stop short. And the guy behind me almost bumped into me. And then he gave the little throat clear. So I understood it was one of them. I looked back. It's a guy who's always there. Like when I leave the apartment, if I walk down a little bit, he's waiting at the bus stop. Or if I'm going to the train, he'll be waiting on the train platform. Sometimes around the area, he'll be in a shop or something, sitting down and, by a window and with his phone pointed out, right? He'll be eating with his phone pointed like right out the window as I walk by. If I go into a store, he'll either follow me in or he'll rush in before me, and he won't like follow me around the store like right behind me, but he'll meet me at different locations and then look at me, make eye contact and clear his throat, something to let me know, yeah, it's them, they're still here, right? And when I go to check out, he will either get in line behind me, or if it's a self checkout, he'll wait and he'll wait until I go, and then he'll get into another self check. He'll go to another self checkout kiosk, right? No matter how long I stall, that's what he'll do. So yeah, that was him. He was right there, and he looked flustered though. And here's the thing: he looked frantic. He looked flustered. He looked, he almost bumped into me. Then he walked past me a little bit. Then he looked back. He was looking at his cell phone. Then looked back at me. This is why I think maybe they didn't have anyone follow me into the polling place, because they knew where I was, but I'm thinking for the time that I was in there, they had no eyes on me, because he really looked frantic, like he was trying to catch up with me. What else? Okay, so he then rushed forward. He went off, and I knew what he was going to do. I knew he was going to be waiting for me on the train platform when I got there, and he was. And again, he was looking at me, looking at his phone, pacing a little bit, looking back at me. So that's what happened this morning. So many things. I had a lot of places to go today, and I don't want to. I can't keep everything in order. I'm just too damn tired. I'm not sleeping well. Like either I'll wake up on and off all night. Like I'm having like really bad dreams every single time, like almost every single time. Or I'll sleep for a little while and wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm exhausted. Keeping everything in order right now is not happening. What else? Okay, so I ended up having to one of the, normally like when I go to the nursing home or when I go, anywhere that I actually normally go, I have a lot of options when it comes to public transportation. But one of the places I was going today, I can only take one train. I don't like taking that train. Okay, so I got off, and so the train is standing there. The doors are open. It's waiting for people to get on and off. train going in the other direction comes by. Again, doors open, waiting for people to get on and off. And this particular stop had an elevator, and because I have a bad hip, like, and I have since I was a child, so I decided to go to the elevator. Like, if I get off at a place, a station where they have one, I'll use it, because not all of them do. Well, there's this guy, and he comes around. I don't know if he was getting off, just got off the train. I don't know where he came from, but he just came by there, was standing by the elevator, just standing there staring at me. He wasn't getting on the train. He wasn't getting on the elevator. Like, I got on the elevator, he was still staring at me. They have glass doors. The doors were closing. He was staring at me. I'm staring back at him. It starts going down. He's looking at me until we can no longer see each other. It's just meant to intimidate. That's all it is. I mean, these pathetic fucking cowards are in a massive fucking group against one person they don't think can fight back. And I mean, I know they have a lot of different targets, but we're all isolated. We're alone. So technically, they're going after lone people who have, they don't think can possibly fight back. Okay, this is a coward's war. This is pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. And they try to intimidate us. Fuck it. Anyway. Okay. So, another location I had to go to. I was on the train, the particular train that I don't like, and someone got on with a red shirt. It was a man wearing a red shirt. He got on with a woman, and he cleared his throat as he got on. I didn't really I tried not to pay attention. I didn't look up at him. I was kind of like looking at him out of the, sideways. He cleared his throat again, and then I looked at him. He began to lift his hand up. He didn't actually make the gesture or mimic my mannerisms that time, and I wondered if he was one of them. I don't know. You never know. But then, at the stop I was getting off at, and I got up to go to the door, he got up, stood right behind me, inches away, like literally inches, right on me, practically. Got off the train with me. That particular stop also had an elevator. I walked to the elevator. He walked, and there's like stairs, and the stairs are by the escalator. He went down the stairs. I made this video before, and I said he went down the escalator. He can't have gone down the escalator because the escalator was going up. He went down the stairs. I went all the way to the end where the elevator is, and I took that down. So I go down. I come out of the station. I walk a little, and there they are. They're waiting for me. They knew exactly where I was headed. They're stalling. I walk past, and then they come behind me and start walking again. They didn't stop following me until I went into the business that I was going to. Let's see. A lot of other things happened. I'm going to leave some shit out because I don't know. Okay, coming home, I got off the train. There are two guys walking about 12 feet apart. The first guy picks up his phone. He's not even hiding it anymore. Like, he's got the camera pointed right at me. I say, fuck off, right? The guy behind him also has his camera out, but it's pointed a bit forward. I didn't know if they were together. They could have been. And again, you never know. That's the thing. You don't know. So you always have to wonder. But like, if the other guy walking behind him wasn't part of it, all he heard me say was fuck off or fuck you, whatever. And he wouldn't understand why I said that, seemingly for no reason, right? He wouldn't have understood what. That's the problem, and then you look like the asshole, right? Unless he was also part of it. I don't know. What else? Okay. So, there was another guy, when I was coming back from the pretty far location that I was at, I was still on the train. Again, this is a train I don't like to take. I got on the wrong car. There was a guy sleeping on this car, and he was like, there on the right, like, dangling out of his hand, practically on the floor, was like a bottle of some, like, I don't know if it was whiskey or gin or rum or something. And then I smelled weed. Like, as soon as I got on, I smelled weed, but it was too late to change to another car. And then I looked over, and this guy was literally smoking on the train. And I don't care if people want to smoke, but I just don't want to come out of it smelling like it. I don't want it all over my clothes. So that kind of sucked. Sometimes I will just walk between cars and transfer that way to another car, but I don't like that. So I waited until the train stopped, and I walked out, and then I ran to another car before the doors closed. Okay, another guy got on, sat down like in front of me, but a little off to the side, took out his camera, was pointing it right at me, was pretending to talk, but there was absolutely no reason for him to angle it that way. The camera was literally right at me. Another guy got on. He stood right in front of me, camera pointing down at me. Okay. I got irritated. I got up, and he looked, it was clear I was irritated. He took a step back, put the phone away, and I understand why he did, because if the camera was on and I saw it, you know, they don't want people to know that, except for the target. What else? Okay, so they got off. Eventually they got off. Two other guys got on. I'm going to try to speed this up. They were standing in front of me talking, and one of the guys was like waving his camera around occasionally, like waving his phone around, occasionally with the camera pointed at me, like every now and then. And again, I don't know if they're part of it or not. That's just not knowing. That's the problem. Like, you don't know. Then the guy who was doing that with his phone, like, he turned around in my direction, down at me, and he coughed, like, right down at me. Now, he was wearing a mask, but that doesn't change anything. And then he kind of stayed there, like, with his head down a little bit, and I looked up at him, and he looked down at me, and that lasted for a few seconds. Then he looked back to the other guy he was with, and they kind of, I don't know if he left, but the other guy kind of chuckled a little bit, and he, I don't know. Like, I think I might have heard a chuckle from that guy too, but I don't know. When they got off the train, they were looking back at me, and they looked at each other, and they were whispering something. And the other guy, he looked kind of Eastern European. He looked kind of maybe Russian. I don't know. He looked like he was snickering. So I don't know if these guys were part of it or if they're just assholes. Anyway, that's what happened. I don't think I fucked too much up in this video. I don't think I got too much wrong. So I'm going to post this. Just another day in the life of a target.